I met a gypsy.
So you said before that when Alta failed, you kind of asked why. So I guess there's two ways that you could look at that particular situation. One person could look at it and say, oh, well, that's a sign that there isn't an interest in electric bikes. It's not viable. You know, you could basically just pick all the negatives out of it. But it seems like you actually looked at Alta leaving as an opportunity rather than a negative. Is that sort of fair to say?
Yeah, I think there are many companies that have proved that electric technology is possible. I mean, of course, Tesla is a huge inspiration, but Alta also proved that you could build a capable bike.
Yeah.
And you can have a theory, but they were the first ones to prove it was possible. And then I think, well, there were several things that I think could be done even better, both from a product perspective, but also how, they worked commercially. I mean, of course, I don't know exactly. I haven't been in the company, but just from what you can see from the outside, that seems to be a lot of interest. And I just think you need to go big. You cannot produce, 5 bikes per day. That's not possible. You need to think large scale production. You need to think, global sales. I think it was clear. For me, it's very, very clear that electric is the future. The question is only when it's going to take over. And if you can launch an electric vehicle in a category where there is no competition, and it's better than gas, it's gonna succeed. You can only fail for internal reasons. That if you fail in, sales, is not because of interest. For sure there will be interest. There is interest in every vehicle category.
Yeah.
You can fail in the marketing if you do a really bad job in showing your product. But we just need to show it. It's not so. We're not selling T-shirts. That's much more difficult. We have an interesting product, so we just need to show that. And then you can say fail in production, but we have built a team of people who knows how to build motorcycle factories. So if someone has built several motorcycle factories before successfully, it's a quite high chance that they can do that again.
Yeah. And so from the outside, I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on why you think Alta did fail, because from all accounts they definitely, like, the second iteration of the Red Hawk was a much better motorcycle than the first one. But what are your thoughts around that?
I don't think they failed because the product wasn't good enough. I think the product could have been made better. Every product can, of course, but it was good enough, I think, for the market to you can see that from the Alta owners today that you speak to. Everyone I talk to are super happy with the bike. Then, everyone has ideas how we can make it even better, make it a little bit lighter, more range, the weight distribution, things like that. But I think they failed for business reasons. That is what I would assume. Of course, they had this deal with Harley Davidson. I don't know the specifics, but it seems they didn't. There was a plan that didn't go through. I don't know exactly what the plan was and what didn't go through. It's hard to say why. Harley Davidson had a focus to build electric bikes. They went with Livewire instead, which hasn't really succeeded. They're not really succeeding with that, commercially at least. Yeah, and then they failed to raise capital, and they failed. I think if they could have scaled production faster, I don't know. You could also, maybe that was not possible because of their financial situation. I don't know, but they seem to, and maybe they weren't. I don't know how good they were in sourcing, because that's also one aspect. The product was rather expensive, and obviously they were losing money since they went bankrupt. But if you don't make a company profitable, it will fail. You have to make it profitable. The question is only when. So
Yeah.
you know, maybe they had challenges in sourcing, in production, and financials, but it's very hard from the outside to say exactly what happened there. I mean, I'm sure the guys that were there knows much better. And I mean, I've been speaking to a few people that were there that you know, seem to be really, really good people. So, but yeah, it seems to be more business reasons why it failed.
Yeah, and that would make sense because, I mean, everybody that I know that's either got one or spent time on one did say how good they were. But I think that was probably the most striking thing from when I spoke to Josh after he was in Spain with you guys, is that he's owned the Alta motorcycles, and he's really been the pioneer of like being the best guy in the world to ride those bikes and kind of show what they're capable of. And then that conversation that I had with him, like, that he's not a guy that would bullshit me. Like, we're just generally friends, you know, and he said how much better that bike was. I think that was, you know, that was one of the big things for me with this project. But yeah, it's not like Alta made a bad motorcycle. Like, Hill already liked it and was, you know, pumped on it. So yeah, it would make sense that it was more like a commercial thing.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you need to do everything right. That's the hard thing.
If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. And to listen to the full 3-hour podcast, search Gypsy Tales in your favorite podcast platform or click the link in the description below. Gypsy Gang.